Hello, welcome pen friends. Welcome to my progress report for April 2024, where I'll kind of take you through my bullet journal and show you how these pens and inks did together so far. So we're right at April 15th as I'm filming this, 2024, and I did end up with 9 pens inked up. And it's been going wonderfully, but I did a few changes. I did one pen change, a complete pen change, and then I did a nib change. So let's do the report card first, because I always forget unless I do. So we'll just start with that. First up was the TWSBI Go in Sapphire with the Colorverse 2024 Blue Dragon. That's this one, the standard one. And it is beautiful. It gets an A+. It's a beautiful base color. It sheens on the writing and everything, a nice red. It's just really a lot of fun. So we'll go into more detail when we flip into the other pages, but for now we'll just stick with this little chart here. Then the next one is, I'll go in order how I have them. I got everything mixed up because I wanted to compare these two inks, the standard and the glistening silver. So there's going to be a different order, but that's okay. We'll make it work. We'll go with how it is here. The next was the TWSBI Go with a broad nib in the smoke with platinum sugar plum, and that is this one. It turns out this is an Ink Journal 2028 holiday blend special recipe. I can't find the recipe, but my pen friend Karen blended this and sent it a long time ago, back probably 2019, because we got the recipe I think in December of 2018. But it is beautiful. This broad nib is the one that isn't quite as broad as the most TWSBI nibs that I like, but still it's between a medium and broad, and I like it a lot. This is a gorgeous dark purple. It's really, really a lot of fun. So there's that. And then I'll have to come back to do the other blue one, but that's okay. Next up is the TWSBI Go with a broad nib in the clear with Diamine Oxblood. And I think I need to redo this card. I probably said that last time too, but I haven't done it yet. I did do the new Colorverse cards to send to Matt, so that was where my emphasis was. I gave this an A because I think the ink is a little bit wet for such a broad nib. This is the opposite of the other one, and it is a very broad TWSBI nib, a number 5 nib. So it gets an A, and I think it would be better in a juicy medium nib, but I still liked it a lot, so. Okay, trying to keep these in order. And then next up is the TWSBI Diamond 580 in the Iris with a broad nib with Pilot Iroshizuku Amaro. I think there's a way to say that too, and I don't have my index card here. It's a beautiful turquoise. It's got gorgeous beauty and flow, and I just love it. I have the small bottle of that, and I have so many other turquoise inks that I wouldn't buy a larger bottle yet, maybe in years to come, but not now, because I have so many others to use up, but it is a contender. It's very pretty. And then next up is my Benu Talisman Mandrake with a broad nib and Sailor Manyo Akabe. Wow, this is a great combination. It is so beautiful. I gave it an A+. It shades beautifully throughout all my writing, and the color is just perfect. It's a real mood lifter for me. I just love that. Okay, then next up was a pen that I completely changed. So I started out with the Opus 88 Halo with a broad nib, but it stopped writing. It wrote really great, and then it just stopped writing. So at the time I really didn't have time because I'm trying to catch up letter writing. So I emptied the ink back out. This is an ink I didn't want to waste a drop of it. So I filled the TWSBI Eco Rose Gold White with a medium nib. Actually, I thought what I was doing was the stub nib, but I didn't look close enough, so I ended up with a medium nib, and that's fine because this has been going really good. I gave it an A. I did say I like it better in the art aspect. You know, when you add water to it, I love the beauty of this. It's it comes across just slightly dull just in the writing, but it is a pretty ink. When you add water, it's gorgeous. Like you can see that from the tile. It has all that blue that comes out, and it's just really pretty. So that was my pen change. And then the next one, no, we got one more to go in between. Next pen is the Caregiving Sport in Mellow Blue with a double broad. And I put in the silver glistening, the Colorverse Blue Dragon. Silver glistening, and this is a really great combination. The double broad really serves it well and gets a lot on the page, and you can, I do pretty well with seeing the glistening shimmer. So I gave it an A+, and I really love it. I'm expecting it to run out though. Let's see. Whoops, oh dear. I do have ink all over it. I wonder, my little hands are, oh, I got something going on, if you can see that up at the top there. Not too much ink left in there, and I don't want to push this because it looks like we're about to have a spill. We don't want to have that happen. That's new. Hadn't noticed that at all, so I'll have to be careful with that until I can get it fixed up here. But yeah, it's been great. It's getting toward the end of the fill. I think that may be what's happening, but we'll see. Okay, I'm going to have to put that second for the other order. Okay, so the next up is where I did a complete nib change. I started out with this Genhao X750 with a 0.8 Nemesine nib, and I didn't like it. I liked it, but not enough. I felt it was writing too dry, and I know Aurora inks, and I didn't think it would be that way. So I did just change the nib over to a Goulet black broad nib, and it changed it. I'll show you in the little sample. I did my whole page with this, though. I gave it a chance, and I wrote some letters with it too. But I just noticed that, well, maybe you can even see here. This is written with the broad nib, and this is written with the stub. There's just a little bit of a difference in brightness, and it just gives more flow out of the broad number 6 Goulet nib, so I like that. I thought the change was well worth the effort. And then somewhere along the line, I watched somebody's video. I think it was Hemingway Jones was doing a video on tea-inspired inks. And I thought, I have a couple of tea inks, you know, they're named after tea or something. So what I found was the Robert Oster Tea Time from the Cozy Comfort series. And I thought, I don't have a green, so let's ink this. Let's ink it up. So I found the little Genhao 82, and it has a broad silver Goulet nib in it. And this has been really good. It is a little light after you write that initial first part, but we'll look at that. We'll see. And that's being real nitpicky too. So, but I really like it. I mean, it's still got a solid B+, almost an A. So that's cool. Oh yeah, I was going to show you, let's see, while we're here, before we move along. So now I have all 4 of these cards done of the Colorverse Blue Dragon. This is the standard with a nice red sheen, but it's standard. And it's so interesting because other folks are describing this as a dark blue ink, and I'm seeing it as teal. And I don't know if it's just my eyes. This is the one that is the silver glistening. And then this is the blue glistening. Oh, let's see if we can. There's a lot of red sheen there, so it kind of competes for our eye with that one. And then this is the Blue Dragon Gold, glistening gold. They like to put glistening first. I may have messed that up. Let's see. Yeah, I messed it up on this one. And I think I redid the tile correctly for Matt because I sent him over to Ink Swatch. These and Lamy Dark Lilac last week. So anyway, okay, so I gotta have these 2. And then these 2 will be tried in my pens maybe next month, but we'll see as soon as I can. Okay, let's start with our individual pages. So this was Monday, April 8th. That was Eclipse Day. And it was the Twisby Go Sapphire with the Blue Dragon, and it just really holds up. Like it has super flow. I circled teal and put a question mark because I started to doubt myself, but maybe it's, you know, what I'm seeing when you add water, and also because of the red sheen, maybe that's why I'm seeing it as teal. Because I'm not sure I can even show that, but in the writing, it definitely, I see that red sheen, and it does kind of inform the eyes, I think. Makes it look teal to me. I don't know. Does anybody else see it that way? Not based on what you see on the camera, though, if you've seen the ink in person. And these are the chromatographies. They're very similar on both. So I put them side by side. I put the standard and the glistening together so we could compare them. So I changed all my whole order to do that. And, you know, they look very similar. I think it seems it lifts a little bit lighter with the one that doesn't have the shimmer. But let's see. And I'm picking up some shimmer there. I can't, with my glasses and this lighting, I can't tell what I'm showing you. That's a shame. But I'm definitely seeing quite a bit of glistening in this. And anybody who's gotten a pen pal letter this first part of April would have probably seen this, because I've been writing with it, and it's gone really well. Yeah, I was headed to the library that day. Yeah, I had a book on hold. I will talk about that when we go to the library room. But this same thing with this, it really flowed really well, and I think this was a great choice for nib, especially, to show off this ink. And it's very broad. It's a nice line width, I think, for it. Okay, then next up was the Platinum Sugar Plum. I'm still kind of laughing about that because I thought that was a platinum ink, but it was a special ink journal. It came in Ink Flight, and they did 7 special ones. 7, maybe 8 that month. I can't remember. And it was December 2018. So, and I love it. I think it's really, really pretty. I got some medium to good shading out of it, and it was really nice. Okay, so next up was the TWSBI Go Clear with Diamine Oxblood. And this is an ink I used to hate because of the name, I think, and I love it now. And I'm seeing that just, it holds right up. It doesn't fade out. That's one of my pet peeves, is when an ink will do really super good the first line or two and then completely start to fade out. I guess that's a hallmark of a drier ink, and it also has something to do with your flow too. But I had a lot of good luck this month with these. These are really good. This is the TWSBI Diamond 580 Iris with this beautiful turquoise. Excuse me. This pen needs to be inked all the time. Yeah, the TWSBI Iris, I don't like putting it away. It's a beautiful pen, and I really, you know, it's got all those colors too. You can go from purple, magenta, blue, teal. You can put pretty much any color in it, really, that I like. So I enjoy that a lot. Okay, so next was the Benu Talisman, another pen that I really like to have inked all the time, with Sailor Mano Akabe. Medium magenta purple. Yeah, I love this. This is my perfect spot for color. And I did make all of these splatters because I really wanted to see the sheen. And I can't tell whether it's gold or green. After I wrote down gold, I realized it almost looks green. So don't quote me on the sheen color, because I can be kind of not accurate on that sometimes. I still look at it and I say, is it gold? Is it green? But it's pretty anyway. It makes a really nice splatter. I mean, some inks don't do that consistently. That was like one draw up with, you know, putting the ink back in the vial, and I got all of those splatters. So that was so cool. Yeah, it is one of my very favorite inks. It has stained a little bit of which pen it was that it stained, but I don't want to put it in just a demonstrator because I'll work too hard to clean it out. Oh, I know which one. It was one of the little moon men like this. Not this one though. This is the second clear one that I got. The first one kind of has some semi-permanent staining, but I got most of it out when I really worked at it with some pen flush and everything. I got most of it out, but I don't like to work that hard to clean pens, so you know, it's a good choice putting it like in here, because the only part you really have to worry about is the nib and feed, and it's not so bad. Whoop. That's part of the pen. That's not staining. Okay, where were we? We were going on to the Sydney Lavender. This is a gorgeous ink. And, you know, I love how it is when you lift it with a water brush. You get kind of that really beautiful soft lilac color, or lavender, whatever you want to call it. And it is a nice complex ink. I really like that one. Let's see. I'm all out of order. Okay. So, moving on. Oh, I did the chromatography. I guess I didn't think I'd looked at that before. I see a whole lot of turquoise coming out of that. Next up was the Aurora Purple in the Jinhao X750 Silver. And I believe, okay, I wrote down to here with that Nemesine stub. Then I put it in one of my little Sailor Hokoro Fude nibs. And that's when I saw how much brighter it could look. So then I proceeded and went straight to my other Jinhao pens and got a broad goulet nib to switch it with. And I was super happy. This is where I wrote with that, the broad goulet nib. I didn't do a whole page, but I have, you know, in my journal I have, and in letter writing, but I thought I would just, you know, put it here kind of as a little sample to show, because it just brightens the whole thing up. This is with the Nemesine stub, which, like, I've used that with Sailor Texas and other inks that are just maybe just a little bit more saturated, maybe, or darker, and there's just no trouble. But I want to see more of the ink, especially when it's bright color like that. I liked it in that Fude too. So that ink would look great in one of those Hongdian forest pens that I have. I have two of them with maybe the rainbow or the purple one. That'd be good for that. Okay, so then over here we have the Tea Time, the Robert Oster Tea Time. Let's see, there's the tile. And I put it in just a little Jinhao 82. But it's really pretty, but I don't, it's not dark enough for me. When I started writing on, well, two different papers I was using. One was the Yamamoto bank paper, and the other was the Tomoe River paper that I'm finishing up here. It just looked too light, especially on the 52 GSM. This is 68, and this was right after I inked it up. So it's probably not even fair to compare it, but just from writing with it more than this, I could tell you that it's not quite dark enough for me, but it is in the ornamental number 4. That was really fun. And I like the ink. I think it's gorgeous. I need to rethink that and see if I have something that lays down even more ink. Maybe a Kaweco double broad. I don't know. We'll have to try that out. And then, let's see, oh, that was the pen change. And then I have a Kakamori nib that I'm practicing with, but when I first got it last year, I couldn't even, I did not like my writing with it. It just didn't do what I wanted it to do. So I'm realizing I have to slow down and really practice with it, because it's not, it may not be for me, but I'm not going to give up on it that easy, because I used channel funds to buy that nib, and I just really want it to work out. I got the brass one, and I feel like sometimes I can make it right and sometimes I can't, and I don't get consistent wide lines really like I see other people. This was with the Sydney Lavender. I need to probably try an ink I'm more familiar with. Something that I know comes out like, well, even like a Pilot ink maybe. Maybe that's what I need to do. Because I can never be sure with an ink that I only have a sample of, and I'm not as familiar with it. So, okay, so that is how it went. And it's a pretty good report card too. It's really good. It's all A's except for a 1B+. And that's just in a picky readability type. I mean, it's readable, but I noticed that some of the shading on the paper I prefer to write letters, it just lightens up too much for me. So, But that's just picky, but it's all fun. I have had a lot of fun with these. Definitely exploring these Blue Dragon inks has been fun, and looking back at some old favorites and some that I have kind of overlooked too. It's been a fun so far. So let's go head over to the library. We'll just do a little bit of face-to-face chatting, and then we'll call it a wrap. There, I'm over in the library. I've got two cats over here. Coco is in one easy chair, and Princess is in the window looking kind of where she can look out underneath where the blinds are there. So she can look out at the front street or road or whatever. Anyway, and the other one, he's on one of the climbers in the living room, and we had a few tense moments because for some reason Toby decided to leap on top of Princess. And I mean, these are cats. That's what cats do. But she screamed so loud, it scared me. I almost had a heart attack. Because, you know, and he wasn't, I don't think he was being vicious, but I'm not sure what was in his mind because he sure didn't look real happy when he did it. So it was just strange. She let out her scream and he ran off. So everything was okay. But now I think they're wanting to just go in their separate corners. So anyway, I'm really happy with the pens that and the inks that I chose for this month, and they're going really well. And I'm glad that I made like the one pen change and then the nib change. It made all the difference. It really did. So after I changed that nib in the Jen Hao, I started thinking about my little Moonman pens and how I kind of had abandoned that switching nibs in those because I didn't think I had enough of the number 5 broad nibs, but I did. I had some on Opus 88s that I could pull, and that way I could just kind of switch nibs around, and it's wonderful. I've got 2 here that I've prepared, but I'm going to have these for May, so I'm not going to, this is my little rickshaw. It has the lanyard, and I can wear it, you know, around my neck. So I've got 2 in here. I put a 1.1 stub on one of them, and then a Goulet number 5 broad nib on the other one, and I'm really, really excited about it because that'll give me different color Moonman pens. I have a broad nib on the pink one that I leave on there all the time. So I started getting into nib swaps, which is one of my favorite things because as soon as I can upgrade to a broad nib and anything, I'm super happy. With a few exceptions where I want to use a fine nib, but let's see. As far as anything else, I just finished a fascinating book. I'm not sure I should have read it because it was a little bit depressing, but I think that once all the furniture that it rearranged in my mind settles down, then I'll end up with some really good ideas. It is a library book, and it's called Who Cares? The Hidden Crisis of Caregiving and How We Solve It by Emily Kenway. And I was going to say I highly recommend it, but with a little bit of a warning label or whatever, that is that it's heavy. It's not an easy book to read, especially if you've done some really hard caregiving yourself, and especially if maybe you're getting older yourself, because it's like, ooh, it kind of has to paint a pretty bleak picture before she goes on and starts talking about some pretty interesting things that she thinks could help to solve the crisis. And I'm still, you know, my mind is still getting around it because at first, whoops.
2 p.m.
2 p.m. Oh my goodness. It's getting late today. At first I thought, it might be an angry rant about women having to, you know, carry the burden of caregiving. And I've seen both men and women's lives turned upside down with caregiving. So, you know, but no, it really, really did show across many countries how that works, and how even paid caregivers tend to be women and tend to have their own, like, if they're being a paid caregiver, which I've done that too, but I only did that for 2 years for elderly people or disabled people in their homes. You know, while at the same time they're working doing that at low wages, their own family needs them and that kind of thing. So it's a good book. And I kind of wish that I had it in my library to keep, but it'll be there. And I think what I'll do is just take notes on some of the main points, and then I'll have that in my notebook. I just read it straight through. So, excuse me, it was pretty compelling to me, even though it was hard to read, and I did have to take frequent breaks and get into some fiction because I just couldn't hardly stand it, you know, because it's part memoir, and she's talking about her own experience of taking care of her mom. And this is a woman who was like a journalist and a, let's see, what does it say? Writer and activist, but I believe she was a journalist. She was only in her 30s. And I say that, but I was pretty young when I started caregiving for my mother and father-in-law. That was the first wave of caregiving that I did. And then my dad with his cancer and everything, and each and every single scenario and time frame was different, and I was different, and my own family's needs were different. But she really is advocating for much more recognition of the fact that all of us are going to either need care or need to help people, you know, basically, because it's just helping. It sometimes isn't the full medical thing, you know. It's always different. What people need is always different, and what we can do, you know, and how you piece together everything, you know, including taking care of the person's pets and, you know, arranging for things. So it blew my mind, because there were things I'd never thought of in terms of you know, how to begin to address the problem. And she didn't stay with just that theme of you know, women only suffering from this. And I'm glad she didn't, because I know that it is much broader than that. And yet, it can really hit you. And you may have only a part-time job, but you may also have to give that up, you know. And she did. She had to give up her work to be able to take care of her mom. It was, you know, she was going to wind up in the hospital herself if she didn't. So that's not a good review. That's not a review. That's just to say that I've just read it and I'm still sorting out all the pieces in my mind. And I'm kind of glad I finished it, because it was really intense. And now I think I still have it for a while, because I got, I got 2 full weeks with it anyway, and then we'll see if it'll renew. But my questions will come up, and I can turn back in it while I have it anyway. And so it was definitely worth reading. I stopped everything, all my other reading, to do that. And then the other thing, the only other topic I have before we close, is that I did get into all my ink samples, and I did kind of a deep reorganization. And I ended up putting all of my, oh, sorry, Coco. I just made his chair like tip or whatever. I put all my full bottle little ink sample vials in this container, and I'm going to be just using those up, but I'm not going to maintain a sample vial for every single full bottle anymore. It's part of what makes the management of my ink samples so difficult, and I think that it doesn't have to be that difficult. It's just something I wanted to do, and I did it for several years, but I don't like the procedure. And I have a different procedure now for all my pilot inks. I have little, like, I think it's a 15 ml bottles that I put those into, and I fill from those. Wow. It's so dry with the air conditioner running all the time now. So I think I kind of solved part of my problem anyway, and I don't really need those vials, because I have an ink miser, and I can always use a clean vial to just, you know, syringe some ink into and then fill the pen, if the pen won't go into the particular ink bottle that I'm using. I'm happy about that, because that reduces the number of ink sample vials that I have to manage and categorize and keep track of by quite a few. And it's just going to be so much easier. Now I have all my color categories, and then I have Noodler's, Colorverse, J.R. Bond, and Birmingham, and Diamine kind of separated out by brand. And I'll get around to showing you those sometime. It's actually not really bad over there, but then the computer area is a little bit of a disaster. So, but I feel like I've got much better grip on it, much better management. And I mean, I don't remember what spurred that, but I spent almost a whole day on it, and it was a good project to do. Okay, I think that's it, because my voice is giving out, and the air conditioner is just running away. It's gotten hot here all of a sudden after enjoying a really nice cool week last week. So let me know in the comments how it's going for you. How's your writing going? I'm a little behind on letters, but that's because I've got so many letters coming in right now. And I feel good about it, though. You know, I'm mailing out stuff just about every day, so I'm getting there. I had a little bit of a dry kind of a writer's block for about a week, but I think that's normal. Sometimes, especially if I've written like tons of letters, then I'll just kind of have a kind of a lull in it where I don't have much to say or whatever. So I like to do it when I'm really enthusiastic about writing the letters. So, and my journaling is going great. So let me know how it's going for you, and I will see you back here soon with another video, and hopefully we'll meet in the comments section to talk. And bye for now.